predicted that China would have significant financial problems. Earlier in this program today, you were talking about bankruptcies. In January and February of this year, 2 months ago, 247,000 companies in China declared bankruptcy. Now, some of them may be in Chapter 11 and working it out, but that's an enormous number. And yes, China is seriously suffering as a result of a broken supply chain. I don't think it's disrupted. I think at this point, the supply chain is basically broken.
Is this as simple as China loses, Peter Navarro wins? In other words, will China ever come back to dominate the supply chain the way it did before?
In my opinion, the answer is no. Two things are going to happen. Either companies that are now in China are going to go from one to multiple facilities, or more likely they're going to realign. The biggest winners in this, I think, will be Southeast Asia. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia. Those are countries that would be delighted to do a lot of the supply chain work. But the other part of it is realignment. I do believe for the first time in probably 30 years, we're going to see significant reshoring from manufacturing being done outside the United States. And I think a lot of it's going to come back to the United States. One of the reasons is that I see growing nationalism around the world. I'm not just talking about Donald Trump or Boris in the UK. Countries are saying we need to be more self-sufficient. And so I think there's going to be a lot of pressure from Congresses and legislatures and parliaments to look at their companies and say, how do I make them more effective? And as a result, I think a lot of U.S. companies are going to reshore back to the United States.
You know a lot more about this than I do, but intuitively, I feel I agree with you. I don't think that we as a nation or other nations, whether it's Spain or Italy or the UK or whomever, will ever let ourselves get into a position of vulnerability the way we have before. That's easy to say right now. It may change, but this could be good for America and American jobs, couldn't it?
I think in the long run, this is going to be a terrible health problem, which we all know. But from a business standpoint, I think America 4 or 5 years from now is going to be stronger and more vibrant as a result of understanding supply chain works and just-in-time works as long as everything's perfect. When one thing breaks, as it did in this case, then the whole thing comes tumbling down. So if you're a manufacturer and you need products, I think in the future, yes, you'll do some offshoring, but I think three things to remember. Are they going to realign out of China, or are they going to reshore back to the United States? But my advice for the people who watch this show is they should look at these things now. Don't wait 2 or 3 months, because 2 or 3 months from now, everybody's going to be out looking for help. One other thing, there's a lot of unemployment out there now, but I think the best employed people in America in the next 3 to 5 months will be those who know supply chain. So if I were running a company and I had a supply chain problem, I'd be going out and looking for the best and brightest to work for me, because that's where the problems are going to come in the next 6 months.